Hey everyone, so I have some really exciting news. So, if you read Chess Life magazine, which I get, I have mine here, and there is something very exciting. If you go to page 14, if you look at the magazine, and I'm going to hold it up and in case nobody else gets it, but one of my games was published in the magazine. So if you look, I'm going to try to hold it up. But you can see my name here. Hopefully it shows up on the camera and isn't all blurry. But you can see my name there. If it's visible, I don't know. But I think that's pretty cool because I'm published in a chess magazine. So what I'm going to do for this video is I'm going to go through the game that I got in the magazine and show it to everybody. I was playing as the black pieces, and let's go ahead and let's just take a look at it. So let's see here. So knight to f3, d5, c4, c6, and so we reach the exchange Slav by transposition. This is probably the least fun variation of the Slav defense. None of those cool pawn breaks and things like that going on. My opponent's playing these a3 and h3 moves, which I don't think are necessary. Maybe he's just doing it to try to steer the game into a less theory position, maybe. That's at least what my idea was. Because I would think that these moves are using time that he should be using to get at his pieces. But maybe he's like trying to just say, you know, I probably want to play b4 anyways, so maybe a3 is good. And, you know, there are benefits to playing these moves. So let's go ahead, and I'm just playing normal moves. I said let's just try to develop our pieces normally. a6, I probably don't need to play that here. I probably could just move out the bishop or, you know, something like that. You know, and get ready to castle. Okay, b5. Again, I probably should just castle. And let's just see what happens. So I take. I didn't really mind getting up this bishop because, you know, obviously this is my bishop that's not as good. So I finally castle, which I should have done a few moves ago. My opponent castles. This move was kind of a waste, I think. I believe I was envisioning some type of variation where maybe, I don't know, maybe something happens with this bishop after this knight moves away and there's a pin of some kind. Or maybe because he has pieces looking at my king side, maybe I was thinking, well, now my king has f8, maybe. You know, maybe some ideas like that were going along in my head. And really, this move is kind of just a waste, though. And meanwhile, he just doubles on the c file, and that's looking good for him. Putting a question to that bishop, where it wants to go. And now I move the rook again. Another reason why the rook to e8 probably wasn't that great. Alright, I played knight to a7. So that move is kind of questionable for a reason that I'm putting the knight off to the side. My idea is I want to try to claim this c file, and I want this knight to be an extra piece just keeping tabs on the c8 square. But I think actually I could just take on e5 is probably better, because this knight is not the best on a7, right? Not on the rim is dim. But let's go ahead and let's keep going. You know, that knight really doesn't belong on a7 though. Okay, f4. As Lisa Simpson says, a blockaded bishop is of little value. And so I feel like this move kind of blocks in this bishop. At least that's my impression. Although it does gain some space in the center, there are a great deal of benefits to that. My idea is it does block in the bishop a little bit. Okay, knight to d7. Queen e2. Knight takes. F takes. Okay, and then that helps the bishop a little bit, I guess, because now it's got an extra square, I guess. Okay, rook c4. Yeah, so now I'm going to try to double on the c file. Rook takes, rook takes. Okay, so this does give me the option of which way I want to take back. I chose taking this way with the D pawn because I'm thinking queenside pawns and I can push them. They're farther away, possibly harder to stop. Although actually I think that b takes c4 also has its good points and may actually be better. You know, maybe this knight can come to b5 and you know, there's a couple other things there. But maybe taking with the b pawn may have been better. So I immediately jumped at taking off the queens because now my time is starting to dwindle down and I'm a little bit faster in endgame sometimes. You know, because there's less pieces, less to calculate. I think most players probably are that way because the middle game's where all the complications are going on, so in an endgame there's less pieces, less calculation, you know. And if my time's starting to go down, that kind of made sense to me. The other reason is I you know, I had the song Drop Out stuck in my head going on repeat, so wanted to try to simplify things, you know, probably easier to think if you can't concentrate, you know, if you're in an endgame. So a5, e4, and let's keep going, and here we go. I get 2 connected pass pawns, so here I'm feeling good. But of course, remember my time is starting to go down, and it was a game with increment added, so that helped me. But at the same time, I have a limited amount of time. Probably shouldn't have played that bishop check. I don't really think that really helps me. And so I'm just trying to push my pawns. And really, I have a pretty good advantage here. But again, with less time to think, it's hard to take full advantage of that. Meanwhile, my opponent has, like, tons of time. I don't remember what it was, but he had tons of time. He had barely spent any time at this point. And I'm, like, scraping by just using the increment. So king f8, just trying to, you know, keep an eye on this pawn, you know, stay within its square. Okay, and let's keep going. And somewhere around here, I think, yeah, so I was beginning to have quite like a pressing advantage where I really could have played for a win, but I just had to play a move just to get that next increment added. Otherwise, I would have lost on time. And here I definitely should be winning. But again, just playing with the increment, I decided to offer a draw because I said with this time, it's very difficult for me to be able to win. My opponent declined the draw, interestingly, even though, you know, I'm the one up a pawn. I have 2 connected passed pawns. I guess he was thinking maybe I'd make a big mistake. But I just decided to lock it down. And I say if I just make it so that I can't lose, that's what I should do. Because I'd much rather draw than lose. And so I just put all my pawns on light squares, make it so his bishop can't attack them. I kind of have this locked down so that there's no approach from the king, you know, because I got all these squares controlled. And so I just can like shuffle back and forth, and then here my opponent says, yeah, I you know, he like was like, yeah, it's a draw, because he realized, I guess he realized I'm just gonna shuffle back and forth, and actually, if you look at the computer and you put this on the engine, it reads 0.00, so that means like dead even. So yeah, an interesting game. I probably should have won if I hadn't used so much time. And the other side of it is I could say, well, maybe if I hadn't used that time, then maybe I wouldn't have gotten a good position. Because, you know, maybe that's the reason why. It's because I was spending so much time on mine. I was really thinking everything out. And maybe that's how I got to a good position. So, and it was a very interesting game. Great play by, you know, my opponent. And I thought this was a really interesting game. So yeah, and I also thought it was very interesting that I got published into the magazine. So yeah, so check it out. You know, if you get the magazine or you see it, go ahead, check it out. Or you want to buy it just to read my article, yeah, go ahead. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see everyone later. Bye.